The 7 eternal laws of success.
Just what do I have to do to bring ultimate success and true happiness into my life? Since time immemorial, many others have asked this question. Some have even discovered that there are immutable universal laws that govern success. As I share these laws with you, you may well be surprised both at their simplicity and their profoundness. You may not agree with them, or perhaps not fully understand the power they represent at first. So I'd suggest you read them frequently until they become very much a part of your being. Each of these laws has been presented in a way to make them easier for you to internalize, to remember. I've added positive slogans or affirmations to support each of the laws. Reading the slogans often will help you to reinforce these laws. If you've learned to relax, or even better to meditate, and you're in the habit of doing so, then it would be a great idea to repeat them while you are totally relaxed. Failing that, just commit to read them at least once or twice a day, and more importantly, regularly read each of these principles out loud. After studying these laws, you'll begin to understand that you're capable of succeeding, and that whatever tools you truly need for that success already exist within you. It's just a matter of recognizing and then using them. So let's discover these 7 universal laws. The first law is the law of knowledge. Knowledge and experience are the stones on which you sharpen the nail of success. Have you ever tried to hammer a blunt nail into a plank of wood? You have to hit it very hard a number of times, and there's the risk of twisting the nail. A nail which is not very pointed, whose end is blunt, can't penetrate into the fibers of the plank very easily, and the harder the plank is, the more difficult it is to drive the nail. The more knowledge that you acquire, the easier it will be to overcome the difficulties that appear before you. It takes time and dedicated study to gather great amounts of knowledge, and one must know where to find this knowledge. Start by approaching experts. By the word experts, I mean people who have proven by their acts that they know what they're talking about. People who have succeeded. So after you've chosen the area in which you would like more knowledge, arrange to go and see these people and ask for their advice. In spite of your apprehension, you will surely find that they will be delighted to help you, and they'll tell you where to get all the information you will need about the subject. Generally, one of the best sources of knowledge can be found at the library, in books. Specialized reviews are particularly valuable, and it is with these that we will learn the most. There are very few areas of human knowledge which have not been put down on paper, that have not been printed. In fact, it doesn't matter in which subject or discipline you wish to achieve perfection, you will find that precious knowledge in books. To become a true professional of what you do, you must specialize. Have you seen how many people around you carry on their profession without putting their heart into it, without trying to be better, without gathering information? You have to be totally different, because to achieve success, one has to be a champion in his discipline. And to be the champion, you have to learn all the facets and see all the possibilities relating to that profession or the activity that you've undertaken. One never stops learning. Life is a great and long field of training. Take advantage of opportunities that are presented to you, and think about what you see and on what you have done and how to perfect yourself. It is in this way that you will become a true professional, a champion, and you will attain success. Here is a slogan that you should learn by heart, repeat it, and read it out in a loud voice. I love learning. I always find time to learn and to perfect myself continuously. The second law is the law of love or positive mental attitude. Love is the magic key which releases the limitless potential within you. Have you ever noticed that a person is the most creative when they're in love? Love, the positive mental attitude, completely frees our creativity. It allows us to experience the entire range of our mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual faculties. On the contrary, bitterness, regret, self-pity, and mistrust block our faculties and inhibit our creativity. So, learn to fix a gaze of love on each object and each person, on everything that surrounds you. Love is both the sun which warms you and the rain which refreshes you. Love is the light that shows you the stars. Love is not only the joy that fills your heart, but also the sorrow which reveals the very depths of your soul. Love everything that surrounds you, and learn to find the source of your inspiration and success in these things. By fixing a gaze of love on each thing and each event, you learn, then you understand, and ultimately, you progress. A strong, positive attitude will enable you to conquer any difficulty that you encounter, and will fill you with enthusiasm. Enthusiasm, which literally means to be inspired by God, catches on fast. A strong, positive attitude will inspire the people you know and meet to help you succeed and to participate in your success. On the other hand, a negative mental attitude will fill your mind with imaginary obstacles which will seem to be insurmountable. Carefully select your reading material, your friends, and the people you meet, because a negative attitude is extremely contagious. Do not allow yourself to be overcome by worry. Do not allow yourself to become depressed. In 10 years, all the things you're worrying about today will no longer matter. They will appear to be completely insignificant. Do not allow yourself to drown in the details of the daily humdrum of life. The second phrase chosen for you is the following: I develop my capacity for love. I constantly create positive images and thoughts, which lead me to success. The third law is the law of perseverance. It is perseverance, and not giving up, which makes all the difference between success and failure. Think of your way in life being like a path in a mountain. If you were not imbibed with faith and focused on your objective, each turn could be an occasion for discouragement, which could cause you to be overcome by fatigue and abandon your quest. You must push on, you must persevere, and never quit. That is the secret of success. The result is perhaps at the next turn of the route. Always remember that even a defeat may contain all the seeds of success. I therefore recommend that you meditate and dwell on these two sentences. I complete what I start. I persevere until I succeed. The fourth law is the law of action. If one searches for the principal causes of defeat in a vast majority of people, one will find the primary reasons to be indecision, procrastination, postponing what should be done today until tomorrow. It's a fact that many people never reach their goals, and this is simply because they never start. Popular knowledge itself affirms this when people say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Very often, our action is blocked by the fear of making a mistake. When we were small, we were taught to be careful and not to make mistakes. Our parents and our teachers have driven deep into our hearts these barriers, these impediments to action. The fear of failure may lead to not acting at all. The human mind is like a cybernating mechanism. It learns by making mistakes, but it also learns from its successes. So it is action that helps you learn. It is in trying different things that you will get results. Therefore, learn to act. The sentence I propose to reinforce this law is as follows. I am going to act immediately. The fifth law is the law of the goal or the idea. A man without a goal is like a ship without a rudder. Have you ever seen a ship without a rudder? Like one of those boats children play with? The wind pushes the boat in one direction and then another. They end up running aground on the rocks. How many people around us do we know that have allowed their life to float along aimlessly without going anywhere and who complain and ask why destiny has not chosen them for tasting the honey of life? Well, it is by fixing your goals and checking your position from time to time that you can reach your destination. If you could fix your goals for each day, for each month, for each year, and for your entire life in the form of an ideal which inspires you, well, these goals would enable you to crystallize your action. If you put these goals before yourself in the form of mental images, you will develop a strong motivation for action. You will easily find the will. The moment you decide to create the desire within yourself, everything becomes simple. Now, in order to create this desire, it is necessary to create a mental image of the goal and all of its benefits, what all you're going to derive from the goal, to see it as if it's already been reached, and to see it as near at hand. Knowing that you have the means to reach it, to put it into action, and knowing that you're doing whatever should be done to reach it. By creating this whole image, you will mobilize all your psychic potential, especially your extrasensory perception. You will find that by a phenomenon of coincidence or telepathy, that people and events will become aligned in some way to your objective and to your will. I would like to offer you a few practical tips concerning goal setting. First, it is very important to write down your goal. In fact, very often, people make good resolutions and then forget all about them. When you make a contract with someone, you usually sign the contract with your signature. Now, to help you in your goal setting, you should do the same thing. Sign a contract with yourself. Just buy a notebook, open a page, and sign a contract with yourself by writing down what you want, giving the time schedule, and breaking it down to the step-by-step actions that you must take to achieve your goals. Fix those dates. And when you fix your goal, do not just contemplate something very small. It is better to think of something great and arrive a little below rather than think of too small and thus limit yourself. Set your sights on higher goals. They will motivate you the most. Let us now move on to positive phrases. My ideal guides me, and it will be easier and easier to reach the goals contemplated by me. The sixth law is the law of liberation. All the hindrances to your success are internal. By liberating yourself from them, you can surely attain success. Understand that these hindrances are simply personal difficulties, blockages, internal impediments which can be changed. To know them and transform them is not the work of one day. You will have to tread a long way for that. Each person has to find their own method. Every so often, you will find that you do not give yourself the right to succeed. This is due to psychological reasons, often unconscious. For example, analyze your relationship with money. Is money for you something dirty that you want to get rid of? A kind of necessary evil? In our present civilization, especially in our Western society, the role of money is so ambiguous that it's difficult to integrate it into the equation. I have noted that most people put a limit upon themselves, fixing an amount that he or she has the right to earn, and not more than that. Now, in olden times, in Babylon, one of the richest ancient cities, certain rules governing the laws of wealth and money were followed. They could prove useful to you today. The most simple and easiest to follow is the law of 1/10 portion. To follow this law, it's sufficient to put aside 1/10 or 10% of one's earnings. That may seem to be childishly easy, but it's more complicated than it appears. When you make all your payments for supplies, food, rent, etc., you make payments to others, but you never pay anything to yourself. By keeping aside a 1/10 portion of your earnings, it's as if you're paying yourself. You're taking care of yourself. Firstly, to set aside 1/10 of your earnings is extremely easy, and it doesn't curtail any of your other possibilities. Secondly, by keeping aside a 1/10 portion, you will gain greater confidence in yourself, and it will liberate your mind from worries about money. Now, on hearing this, you'll probably say, "Oh, that's all very well and good, but I have huge debts, and it's impossible for me to put aside money. I have to pay out all that I get." Well, it doesn't have to be exactly like that. Even if you are in the deepest debt, you can still set aside 10% by paying yourself before paying others. In this way, you will have better psychological equilibrium, and you'll have greater confidence in yourself, which will be beneficial to your actions and, in turn, to your creditors. A last thing, it is important to invest the money in such a way that it will give you a reasonable return. Reinvest the amount received from this investment also. When I say return, I don't mean a savings account as a solution, because it doesn't really take into account inflation. No, I mean a real investment which will protect you from inflation and which will give you a supplementary income. For that, obtain advice from people who have made their fortune and listen to the reviews of the specialists. The 3 positive slogans which I have chosen for this idea of liberation, as much in the field of money as in psychological fields, are: I have the right to succeed, I can do it, and I shall succeed. In Babylon, one of the richest ancient cities, certain rules governing the laws of wealth and money were followed. They could prove useful to you today. The most simple and easiest to follow is the law of 1/10 portion. To follow this law, it's sufficient to put aside 1/10 or 10% of one's earnings. That may seem to be childishly easy, but it's more complicated than it appears. When you make all your payments for supplies, food, rent, etc., you make payments to others, but you never pay anything to yourself. By keeping aside a 1/10 portion of your earnings, it's as if you're paying yourself. You're taking care of yourself. Firstly, to set aside 1/10 of your earnings is extremely easy, and it doesn't curtail any of your other possibilities. Secondly, by keeping aside a 1/10 portion, you will gain greater confidence in yourself, and it will liberate your mind from worries about money. Now, on hearing this, you'll probably say, "Oh, that's all very well and good, but I have huge debts, and it's impossible for me to put aside money. I have to pay out all that I get." Well, it doesn't have to be exactly like that. Even if you are in the deepest debt, you can still set aside 10% by paying yourself before paying others. In this way, you will have better psychological equilibrium, and you'll have greater confidence in yourself, which will be beneficial to your actions and, in turn, to your creditors. A last thing, it is important to invest the money in such a way that it will give you a reasonable return. Reinvest the amount received from this investment also. When I say return, I don't mean a savings account as a solution, because it doesn't really take into account inflation. No, I mean a real investment which will protect you from inflation and which will give you a supplementary income. For that, obtain advice from people who have made their fortune and listen to the reviews of the specialists. The 3 positive slogans which I have chosen for this idea of liberation, as much in the field of money as in psychological fields, are: I have the right to succeed, I can do it, and I shall succeed. The seventh law is the law of energy. Your entire life is woven on the fabric of the law of energy. Learn this law, and your success will be everlasting. To have success without health would be an egoistic success that deprives you of the benefits of sharing it. Understanding the law of energy enables you to have long-term success. By practicing the first 6 laws, you will eventually come to a better understanding of this final law. The 2 slogans upon which you should meditate are, I inhale deeply, and I have inspiration. I exhale deeply, and the energy flows in freely. By mastering these 7 eternal laws of success, you can surely attain all of the success that you desire. Now, just get started. Take aim at your goal, apply the lessons, and you will surely be on your way to achieving all the success that you wish for and that you truly deserve.
You listen to The 7 Eternal Laws of Success